All right, everybody, we back. We got another episode of Wealth for the Culture. Hey, I got a man, author, businessman, investor, teacher. This guy right here, he's the reason a lot of y'all know I just started doing the notary thing. He's the reason for that. He does a lot. He has a lot going on, so we're just gonna dive into it. His name is Andre Hatchett. If you could just do me a favor, the way I always start all these off is, I just get a little background about all my guests for anybody that may not know about. You can just break that down for everybody.
Yeah, man. So honored to be here. I appreciate you having me. I am 38 as of today. I don't know when this is coming out. I might be 39 by then. Hardcore entrepreneur, hardcore black man, and I try to combine them both when I can. Haven't had a job in 11, I think maybe 12 years now. So, and as you mentioned, the notary business is what got me out of the full-time workforce. When I was working with special needs children. Did that from 19 till about 27, and I coached youth basketball. Been a homeowner since the age of 22. Started my first notary company when I was 23 or 24. I have to look it up. I don't know which one it was, 23, 24. And yeah, man, I have 3 books out, one more coming. I taught probably between my online platforms, probably 30,000 plus people since 2015, and I'm honored to be here, brother.
We're honored to have you, man. I appreciate got to give people their flowers while they're still here, man. And you definitely one of the people out there, this platform to shine light on the black people out here that's making it happen. And let me tell you, so you embody that for sure, for sure.
Thank you.
I do have a question though. Like for you coming up, was like a money like a thing, financial literacy, entrepreneurship? Was that like something that was talked about like in your house coming up?
It could have been talked about a little bit more, but it was talked about. I have, if it wasn't in my household directly, I have aunts and uncles who I kind of tapped into to get there. I just didn't want limits on myself, to be honest with you. I just have never liked limitations. And that's probably the reason why I was never good at school, because school is so friggin' limited. And structure to one specific area, especially high school, middle school. It's freaking insane now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, man, I don't like limits. So once I tapped into entrepreneurship, I realized, I can create this. I can create what I need. I can create what I want. And I've been running ever since.
Okay. How long you've been doing the entrepreneurship full time? You said 11 years. How long you just been trying to get to that entrepreneurship level? How long you been doing the entrepreneur thing?
If you want to go back to, I don't know if you count shoveling snow and selling candy in school and selling lemonade. Yeah. If you want to go back there, since 10, 11, 12 years old, I just started. I just started as a young dude.
Yeah, that's what's up. I sold candy at school too. I think honestly, I feel like everybody that kind of go on their own has something coming up that they was doing.
Yeah, and if you want to go corporation route, since 23 or so.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. And it's crazy because the thing that gets me the most about you is you so involved in so many different businesses. And I mean, you want to just kind of talk about, because I know you got a book, you got a few books actually. You got your businesses and all that. I've heard that you do the investing route as well. You got your teaching, because I'm one of your students. This way, you got your teaching stuff.
Thank you, sir.
So that's just crazy. Like what got you into all these different businesses?
So what got me in different businesses is I just had a lot of ideas. But in my earlier, well, I didn't say earlier, but up until about 5 or 6 years ago or so, I was one of those people who started too many ventures at one time. So over the past few years, 4 to 5 years, I've slowed down to speed up, per se. So I've gotten better at when I'm going to launch a book, when I'm going to launch a course, when I'm going to launch this, when I'm going to launch that. And I got better at partnering and or hiring qualified people. And they cost more, but they make your life easier because you have to think less. So, yeah, man, with everything that I've created up until this day, it's been a lot of trial and error. And now things look pretty, but things haven't always been so pretty and smooth. But I was able to figure it out. I just kept going, and I held myself accountable.
Okay, that's what's up. So I mean, you mentioned partnerships, and it's crazy because I heard you on Black Wealth Renaissance a while back.
Black Wealth Renaissance. What up, guys? Those are my guys.
Yes, sir. That's crazy because I heard you mention that whole power of partnerships and stuff like that, and slowing down and speed up. Because honestly, I was in the same boat, and it was like your story just resonated with me because it was just something I was trying to do a little bit of everything, and it wasn't really working. And then I had to figure out like, let me just stop, and focus in on one thing. So I mean, that whole power of partnerships definitely is something like, yeah, it'll probably cost you a little bit more. A lot of people complain about that, but to me, not only you, but I have another mentor that kind of just explained to me like sometimes it's like, are you making money? You could do 100% of something and make nothing, or you could take a little bit of a bunch of different things, and eventually, you'll get a good percentage.
I'm actually glad you brought that up. Are you a fan of the Joe Button podcast?
Yeah, I listen in.
Okay, so I'm an avid listener, and I can't confirm this, but I have some issues with the guys, the other stars, Rory and Moore, because they don't have equity in the show. I could totally be wrong here, but I think I'm probably right.
Nah, I actually believe that too. I'll be listening.
You believe it too?
I think that's what's going down, honestly.
And there was a couple of times where things, where Rory or Parks made like kind of a sly comment. Well, you own it, we don't own it, and I'm like, huh. And I think Joe Button suspended Rory, and Walt was like, you can't suspend him. But anyway, if they don't come back to the show, I don't know if it can survive or survive for how long. If they don't come back because they don't own a small piece of the show, Joe owning 100% of the show turned out to be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
People need to know when it's time to partner, and when you have good people on your side, you want to either overpay them or give them some kind of equity share if they're looking for it. Because if he fucks that up, he won't live that down. One of the best podcasts, or one of the first hip hop podcasts, they changed the game. And let's even say that it's 15%. If he fesses himself up over 15% equity, he won't live that down well. So people need to be very careful about the need to control everything they're doing. There's a time for it. There's a time where you need to divvy it up. I'm part of silent partnerships, where I own maybe 5% of some stuff, like literally 5%, maybe 10%, maybe 2%, maybe whatever. But you know what? I'm cool with that because that's that lane. That is that lane, and I have other lanes where I am the head honcho per se, and I'm down with all of that shit.
No, I feel you on that, especially because I was thinking about that whole thing with Joe Budden podcast. You might tune in. I was definitely thinking about that. I was like, this got to be bigger than just some little stuff he talking about. Like it got to be something about some control in that.
Gotta be
really.
It gotta be. Yep.
And it's crazy because, like I was mentioning, that's kind of where I took my shift because it's like I used to want to be that. Like I just want to do 100% of all of this, but you start getting overwhelmed, and sometimes you don't know everything about stuff, and people don't realize that. And if I got all my friends stuff, I'm like, why not put them on? They good at this. Let me bring them on, and we could both just make money together. Yeah, it might be a smaller cut, but at the end of the day, it'll be easier to grow it. I got help with it, and you can't do everything, by yourself, man. That's what a lot of people they don't realize.
Yeah, not well. You can't do it well.
But I mean, speaking of, you got this term that really stuck with me. Own or be owned. Where did that come from? Because
own or be owned. That's sure. Where did it come from? So I was saying it right, and put it on here too. I got it on here. Got it on the shirt. Pick up the shirt. I was saying it, and a cool guy who I was working with at the time, his name was Avery. And he said, "Yo, Trey, that's your tagline. That's your thing. That's going to be your thing." I was like, "Own to be owned?" Like, yeah. So I ran with it, and it just stuck, and it kind of hit people. It's when they heard it. And if you look at the majority of issues in our community, not all, but the majority, is some lack of control or ownership. As crazy and as effed up as issues with police are, you're more likely to get denied an apartment, to get charged a higher interest rate, to not be hired at a job than you are to have a negative encounter with a cop. right? You're more likely from lack of, even if you're more likely to be put in a worse position from lack of ownership than you are other issues in our community or a statistical number basis. So I said, if we could focus more on ownership, not that the other stuff will go away, but I think we'll be in a better position 5, 10, 20, 50 years later. So I'm just hardcore on Black people, especially Black men, owning stuff. I think it's good for the soul too, and for the self-esteem. Now, that doesn't mean you have to own everything you do. It doesn't mean you can't have a 9 to 5. But if you can if you can get to the point where you own where you live and own where you work, even if it takes 5, 10, 15 years, I believe we will be better as a race of people.
And that's what's up, and that's crazy because that was the shift that I had. Like, and it was just not too long ago. Like, that's why I'm trying to get into like a duplex now out here. I mean, I just understand, and it's crazy because you said that you got your first property at like 22. You were saying
22. Yeah. I was young. How old are you?
I'm 27 right now.
That's what's up.
Yeah, no, that's crazy because I don't know. For me, I was always bouncing because I went from Houston to Phoenix, over to Boston. Now I'm back in Dallas right now. So it's crazy. Like, I just never thought about
all over the place. You've been Phoenix, Boston, Dallas, Houston.
Yeah, because I'm originally from Houston. Then after I got out of school, I played ball at a D2 school. End up coming out of school. I didn't really know what the heck I wanted to do. I tried a couple
football or basketball.
Football.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of I tried to do like a couple side hustles here and there. I got into like crypto, stocks, all that. I mean, I'm still doing stocks. That's kind of where I found my bread and butter, that in crypto, and then I want to do real estate. Like, I was just like I mentioned, I was just all over the place. I really I hear something, I just try to run with it. I tried the Amazon stores and all that, and I got a job. It took me to Phoenix. They screwed me over. Then I got in with this other company I'm at right now. That took me up to Boston for a couple of years, and really, that's when I really kind of got a chance. Like, I got exposed to a bunch of different things. It's crazy because I don't know if my role would have been like this had I not got out of like where I'm from. So I mean, that's kind of I tell a lot of people, like, sometimes you just got to get away from your like environment that you used to, and kind of just challenge.
Oh yeah, move out of your hometown if humanly possible. Get the hell out of that hometown, even for a little while. Your mind just opens up when you leave the hometown.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even when I went to Boston, I wasn't, even Phoenix, I wasn't really surrounded like about a bunch of Black people. So it was kind of just like, you just had to learn how to adjust. That was the big thing. And that's kind of like, after you figure that out and learn how to make it work, you kind of survive in any environment, I feel like.
Bingo. What part of Boston were you at?
I was way up north. It wasn't like, I was in like Andover area. So
okay. You were up there.
Yeah, I had to take like a whole trip down. It's like a good little 30, 45 minute drive just to get to like Dorchester and stuff. Like,
yeah. You were up there.
So it was crazy. I mean, I learned a lot, and I can't really complain about it. Now, my thing with you is the thing you preach. You mentioned, focusing on one thing, getting good at it. How were you able to do that? Because I know a lot of people talk about, you spoke about outsourcing, like you got systems in place, and how were you able to do that? Like, what's the big thing for you about focusing on one thing?
I had to fight my brain. Like, literally, I had to fight my way of thinking because I was trying to fight what the experts were saying for years. It was a battle within my brain. So if I say I'm working on something, I have to force myself to not start anything new for 4, 6, 8, 12 months, whatever time it took. My percentage-wise was I'm not starting anything new till I'm 80% or more complete with one other project. So I started the Notary School. That went extremely well. I said I'm going to start the Black Real Estate School. Not right away. I'm going to start it when I have this flowing to a percentage of 80% completion, air quote completion, because you're always expanding, getting better. But to the point where I felt that, okay, this is solid, and this can run semi without me. So it's a mental thing. It's literally a mental thing because we see Instagram. We see all these other cool things that are making money, People are in Dubai. They're living a great life. They got cars. Like, damn, what the hell am I doing? But we forget that the thing that we currently have can get us there. We just haven't put in the effort for it to get us there. So it was a battle. Thank God I've gotten better at it. But yeah, I was able to expand as well when I hired better people. So people, good quality people cost more money. There's no way around it. Don't try to skip with them. Don't try to undercut them. Don't try even try to negotiate a fair price. Some people say that everything's negotiable. If their price is fair, why are you negotiating a fair price? Just rock out. Just pay them. So it was a number of things, but those things were the biggest things. Hire qualified people, know when to launch what. And success is boring, man. Like, success is boring. So we hop around to business to business to business, or to stream to stream to stream, because we're looking for something new to have fun with. Some people date most people because the person they're with, things have got stale and boring. Things get stale and boring with most relationships sometimes. You got to make it fun. Or just embrace you're going to have a couple of boring ass days. If you can embrace in life boredom, embrace it, cope with it, deal with it, you'll have a higher level of success. And you'll be able to stick to something long enough for you to have a feeling of completion with. So I have to just be a grown up. I have to just be a grown up and slow the fuck down.
I feel you. And it's crazy because you mentioned, paying people and, outsourcing. It's crazy because the reason I was able to get a hold of you is because Annalisa, shout out to her. And she's like,
Annalisa, what up?
Yeah, she's a former guest of the show too. And she came on, and it's crazy because, yeah, so it's just pretty dope to me just to see, everything going on with what you got going. And it's crazy because you mentioned, being, okay doing the boring stuff. And it's crazy because when I first came across you, it was because of the notary thing. And it was crazy because I was a player, like, I didn't even know it was a thing. Like, I had never knew anything about that. So, I mean, honestly, this is what I really want to get into. But before we do that, can you just kind of talk about, like, how you started? Because you mentioned you do the Black Real Estate School as well, and I saw that. And how did that even come about?
So I knew a little bit about real estate, not as much as I knew about notary stuff, but I knew enough to get some one-on-one content out there. And I realized that I really like teaching, because before my only career that I had was working as a teacher's aide with special needs children and coaching youth basketball. So at my heart, I'm a coach and I'm a teacher. So once I started doing it, I was like, oh, shit, I'm digging it. So I said, what else can I teach? So I said real estate. And I said, I know a lot of other people who are also in real estate as well. And one of the best compliments that I got from my students, I asked them, like, how do you guys like this stuff? They said, I'm able to take complex stuff that might seem hard or difficult and break it down to simple equations or simple solutions. So I said, okay, let me do what I'm good at. So started doing that, had success. I brought in some guest speakers, and we've been rocking out with that since 2016. So it's working.
All right, man. Shout out to you. That's huge right there.
Thank you, brother.
And so what everybody waiting on to get into, because this is what this is really about, this notary game business. Like, can you kind of just talk about that? Because this gotta be the most unheard of thing, at least to me, that really can put people on and make us some real money.
It's up there with the unheard of. I think appraisers and home inspectors are my top three things that people need to look into that are underrated. So mobile notary business. Okay. So my boy Ricky Salmon, Chef Ricky Salmon, we had mutual friends at the time. We knew each other, but we weren't like friends like that. But some mutual friends were telling me about what he was doing. They knew that I was always entrepreneurial. So we're talking like 20, 21 years old. People knew that I was about business. That's just what I did. And they said that he shows up somewhere, he makes like $35, $75, $200. He's there for 5 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour's a long appointment. I was like, oh shit, like, what is this thing? And I was like, yo, connect me to Ricky. So I shadowed him. I saw what he did. He did a home equity loan closing. He made like $125 or $75. We were there for 20 minutes. He did another notary job in Long Island City. We were there for like 10 minutes. And he did another job, I think, in Austin, New York, for like $100. So let's just say that he made like between $250 and $300 that day, and most of it was driving, and it wasn't the whole day. And at the time, I was making $100 a day at the job, not my job, the job. $100 for the whole day, 7 hours. I said, okay. I knew that in New York, there's a test to take to get it, to get your license. I took the test, failed the first one, took a class for it, passed the second time, and I've been running with it ever since. I just knew that it made sense. I show up to a location, or I have someone else show up for my company. We charge the client $200. I either do it for $200 or I have someone else do it for $100 or $125. I keep the difference. I saw it work, and I've been running with it since my early 20s.
And see, the crazy thing is, that's what really got me. You kind of you flipped this whole thing, and you took it to a whole, made a whole business model out of it. And not only did you do that, it's like, now you can make money, I'm assuming you could just kind of make money all over the country pretty much doing it. This is the way you doing it, huh?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. It's funny because if I get a phone call from somebody from a different area code, of course, the number pops up. Even if it doesn't say the city and state where they're from, I usually know where they're from because I've literally, for the past 15 years, been dealing with clients all over the country. So I tend to know the area codes for most of the freaking country. Nah, man, I had days where I had title companies and law firms I was working with who sent me a list of closings, right? Let's call it 150 a pop. Say, hey, Andre, how many of these can you do? And can your friends do some of these? Like 10, 20, 30 closings for the week.
Damn.
So this business has so much longevity, so much room, and people, they still ask me, is it oversaturated? I'm like, no. Do you know how much work there is? You could do apostilles, fingerprinting, loan closings, refinances, home equity lines of credit, purchases, car titles, wills, like timeshares. There is so much work to do. It's insane. So yeah, man, that's what got me here.
All right, that's what's up. It can't, okay, so we got people, people that listen to this, they at home, they really, they're trying to figure out size. And I mean, this is, well, like you mentioned, this is some of the stuff that's boring and stuff. But I always tell people, all right, I got a question. I got a question for you about this, because this is something that I get with people, and I don't know, maybe I'm just weird or something. People always talk about how you feel about doing what you're passionate about. Because I mean, me personally, I'm just like whatever. But like, how do you feel about that?
That's the most overrated line in the history of lines in the American history. So passion is front end passion is overrated. People tell you do what you love and not to work. You will still work every day of your life. It will feel better. It'll be happier, but you will still be working. Children look for pleasure in everything they do. Children and a rich man's wife. Or a wealthy man's wife, because that's who looks for pleasure, because they have the luxury. Most men, some have luxury too, but most men, we don't. We got to figure it out. So, I loved coaching youth basketball. That was not paid. That was solely volunteer every Saturday for 4 or 5 months of the school year, and I did summer. 2 summers. That was so much. It was probably the most fun I ever had. Total passion. That didn't pay. If I tell a woman who I meet at the bar, hey, I'm a youth basketball coach. I live with my mom. It's volunteer, but I love it. I'm so passionate about it. She's like, oh, okay, that's great. I'll see you later. If I tell her I do that on the weekends, but in the daytime I have this business, it's cool. It works. I like it a lot, but do I love it? No, but it works. I get paid $300 a day. Last week I did a job. I made $800 a day. So I'm doing well in life with that. But this is what I'm really passionate about. Our passion doesn't always come from our work. It might be our free money, our free stuff that we do, or we might never be passionate about what we do 9 to 5 or business wise. But I was in Jamaica with my woman, having a grand ass time. Boring work might have got me there, but Jamaica was lit.
Hey, yeah.
These freaking mangoes are huge as shit, yo. So there are numerous ways to look at it. I just want us to have a more mature approach and to realize there are numerous ways to skin a cat. If you have to bust your ass doing Uber Eats, but in 6 months from now you got a duplex, shit, that Uber Eats might not have been that fun for you, but that duplex living mortgage free is fun. I want to have a more mature approach to that whole passion conversation.
No, I feel you. And
sorry for the long ass spiel. Yeah, but
it's all good because it's crazy because people live, they can kind of put all that together. Like, you have it to where you got your systems in place, built up partnerships as well. So now you can go chill out in Jamaica. You can go do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And just still be bringing in money.
Yeah.
I know you made like 800 a day, but like, just for anybody out there that's listening, like what is like a typical income you could kind of make from doing the mobile notary?
So we have a group at the school called the 2 through 12K Club, right? Where people make on a low end $2,000 a month, higher end $12,000 a month. If I had to say an average income, I'll call it right in the middle, between $4,000 to $6,000, $7,000 a month for people who take it seriously. Some people do that part-time, some people that's full-time. But if you take it seriously, I would say you could do between $4,000 to $7,000 a month on average.
Okay. All right. Hold on. 4
now,
to 7?
I know people who do, I do 12, 14, 17, 20 bands a month, right? They might be just better at certain things than others. They might take it more seriously. But I haven't seen anybody who takes it even semi-seriously, who follows our steps, who makes less than $500 a week, part-time, even on a part-time basis. Because if you look at it like this, if you figure most notary jobs will pay you somewhere around $100, sometimes less, but let's go $100. That's $5 a week. If you can't do 5 jobs a week, like that's on you. You aren't following the steps. You aren't trying. You aren't doing it, because the money is this business. I thought it might slow down during the pandemic. Oh, it only went up. People only made more money. I was surprised on that too. I knew that it was recession proof, but I didn't know that it was pandemic proof. So, whole lot of money to make, man.
No, yeah, that's even bigger that you mentioned that, because a lot of people without a job, this was a lick they could pick up right here and still make money. Everybody need a notary, and it's great because I saw you, and I was looking at your course and stuff, and I saw you mentioning like fingerprinting and all these other different avenues that I didn't know none of this stuff exists.
Yep, whole lot of room to make money, man.
That's what's up. But you saying that that's not even close to being like, because a lot of people, like I see so many people up at your courses. I'm just like, man, like ain't this gonna get to a point where it's saturated? But you already hit on that, and it's like it's still opportunity for people, which is crazy.
Yeah. And if you just look at the loan closings part of it, being a signing agent, houses are flying off the market, and I don't know about most of the country, but a lot of the country, houses on the market for not a long time. Interest rates are low, so if you think of most purchases, if you're buying a house, a notary is there. Most refinances or home equity line of credits or loans, if you're doing that transaction, a notary is there. So just on that realm, there's money to make right there.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was when I heard about it. I was like, well, I was talking to one of my guys in real estate. He was like, yeah, every closing is somebody there, and they make it, $100, $200. I'm like, damn, like it's crazy.
There we go.
People don't even realize all the cash that's in that. Now you got a few books, and I'm gonna probably end up copying this one. This one, the title just caught me. It's called The 10 Habits of Underachievers. Where did that come from?
The top 10 habits of underachievers. Success leaves clues, so does mediocrity and failure, I believe. So I wrote that book because I realized most people who aren't succeeding, and by succeeding, I mean succeeding to their own personal potential, not what I expect of them or society or what you expect of them. You aren't hitting your own personal goals in life. They're doing the same things. They're not doing the same things. They're typically they're overthinking. They're thinking too much. They start too many things at one time. Most of the things that I've been through. I just studied people. And I watched people who weren't where they wanted to be in life, and they have the same habits. they mostly have the same habits and are producing the same traits, which leads them to not be where they want to be in life. So I said, let me put it in an easy to read, simple, because I'm a simple dude, simple book, and people seem to dig it. It will either make you call yourself out, say, "Oh shoot, like that's me. I need to step it up," or because I don't think everyone needs to. I don't think everyone needs to have multiple businesses. I don't think everyone needs to just go hard to be a top income earner. If you are at peace, not doing those things, I want you to be at peace. I'm not pushing everyone to greatness or to reach their greatest self. You might know you're average, be at peace with being average, rock out with your average ass. Like, do what's working for you. But if you know that you have another gear to hit, I do want to challenge you on that gear. And that's why I wrote it.
That's what's up, because a lot of times people don't, take into account all the stuff that goes on. Like people that just complacent, just not really, taking advantage of their full potential.
Facts.
So that's pretty dope right there. And this is a question I got because now that I'm starting to see success, and maybe you could kind of give me a tip on this.
Yep.
Like, how do you change the mindset, or like change the people around you that like family and friends and stuff? Like I'm trying to put them on and stuff, and it's just tough.
Yeah. The hardest people to change are your childhood friends and your family. Right?
Yeah.
The hardest people to change are your childhood friends and your family. Not impossible, but they're the toughest people to change because they've seen you grow up. They've seen you when you were messing up. They've seen you drunk and throw up. They've seen too much. Not too much, but they've seen too much, a lot to take you seriously on your next venture. They've seen you mess up and start a bunch of ventures. The best way to change childhood friends and family or to inspire them is you go out there and win. But don't wait on them or don't expect them to partner with you for the win. You got to win with strangers. I've done my best deals with strangers.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying right now. I done did a lot. I done got more done, just with it's crazy. Like it's like I wasn't big on social media or nothing until like late last year, and I done got so much done just with like people off of Instagram.
We haven't even met in real life, probably.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's unreal, and it's just like I try to tell people like that I know, like my boys and like and stuff, and they just kind of like half the time they just shooting it down. It's like, well, I'm telling you, it's money in this. It's something to get.
Don't tell them.
Get it is tough, but hey.
Yeah. So here's what you're probably gonna have to do is just not tell them, because once you hit a certain groove, you can't risk your energy on people because it's easier to fall back and to the old way of thinking. So you just gotta not tell them what you're working on. Whatever, or talk about sports and wings and shit. But energy zappers and people just don't believe, they'll suck the life out of you. Probably not even intentionally, but they will. So you just gotta keep the ideas to yourself or talk to new people and keep this podcast, because a podcast is one of the great ways to meet new people and stay motivated.
I appreciate that. I just gonna pivot to my last segment because I actually, hold on 1 second.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I got this last segment I do. It's just a talk to the culture segment I got going, and I'm gonna just run off 5 questions, and you can just hit me with some answers for these. So, first question is just, what does wealth look like to you?
The ability for my immediate family members to not have to have a full-time job, for my woman not to have to work for the man, for me to be able to not have to constantly think about money, and for my kids, if I have them, inheriting assets. For me, that's I hit those things, I feel damn good about myself. I feel damn good about myself by those things.
It's great. I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of times, like people always say, people that they want wealth, they just money hungry. But nah, it's really just you want your time or you want your freedom.
Yeah, I don't spend much money on myself, but most of my money goes to other people. To be honest, I'm not a minimalist, but I don't do a lot of shit
Yeah,
on my own accord. I might travel a little bit, but yeah, it's to help other people, man. For me,
that's what's up. That's what's up. That's real, commendable. And I know you got your own book, but do you have like a book recommendation? I always try to get a book recommendation for everybody.
yeah, The Wealth Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbro. He interviewed all black millionaires, and he got their path to get there, what industries they were in, and their mind frame. And something that stood out to me, the high majority of them are married. Even if it's not their first marriage, the high majority of them are married. They all don't, most of them do not have a luxury car, and most of them have a budget.
So yeah, I actually just downloaded that book on Audible yesterday.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because I read the regular one, and then I kept hearing about the Black Choice one. I was like, oh, I gotta check this out.
Mm-hmm. No. Oh, it's not that book. It's The Wealth Choice, not the. He has another book that was a play for Napoleon Hill's one.
Oh, okay.
It's a different one, but read that one and read The Wealth Choice as well. That one's it's cold. It's really cold.
Okay, that's all right for sure. I'm gonna check that one out. And I always ask everybody, oftentimes, we get failures and setbacks and stuff while we going along the journey. And I just always want to see, what failure taught you the most in this whole process.
Probably when I went bankrupt. I got scammed. I got scammed by someone I know. Don't be overzealous and get an outside opinion. Get an outside opinion of somebody who's not involved in the deal. So I was just believing what he was saying, like some American Greed style, oh, this sounds like a good, yada yada yada. And if I would have just brought the information to a positive person who's also successful, who's not involved in what I'm currently doing, I would have gotten an opinion that might have been able to help me navigate not getting involved in business with him. Now, getting advice from someone who's in the deal, they might be truthful, but they have something to gain. You go into someone who's not involved in the deal, even if you pay them a consultation fee, either way, like they got paid, so like they're giving you the truth no matter what. So I would, that was bad. It was a rough few years in my mid-20s.
It don't matter now, cause shit, where you at now, you living. Yeah.
Show goes on. Show goes on. Man. The ticker is still ticking, is what I call it.
Yeah. And this is one I always like to ask people, and that's why I want to see what you got to say. What is just one thing that you think the Black community can, they need to improve on?
Oh, this is good. It's a mix between delayed gratification as far as assets are concerned. Because a lot of people I talk to, we are getting better. We are getting better at this. So I want to throw that out there. I have seen a lot of improvements, but a lot of times it's, well, what's going to be the return on this? If I buy a house now, I have to wait 5 years to see the appreciation. You might have to wait. You have to wait 5 years. So if we can accept delayed gratification more, and a close second or 1B is we need to learn conflict resolution in our relationships, even if it means hiring an outside moderator. I think a lot of people would have been able to stay married or involved with their partners and not have sort of single parent households if they would have had a moderator or been open to some kind of therapy or some sort. And even if relationships didn't work out, a lot of people would be better co-parents if they allowed someone to help them kill the ego and to focus on the child. So it's a trade-off between those two things.
Yeah, that's crazy because you mentioned therapy. I know a lot of people, especially in our community, they too hot on therapy and stuff like that. So
it can save your life. It can literally save your life.
Man, you're not lying, because that was the crazy thing when I talked to somebody I didn't even really know that was in that space. And it's crazy to kind of just getting that stuff out there, what it can do for you. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely am a big fan of that. So, and for my last question, my brother, what
Mm-hmm.
is just one piece of advice you give somebody out there that's trying to, trying to do what you're doing, be successful?
One piece of advice: leave out of your hometown and meet new friends.
Wow, that's a bar because that's probably when that's like it sounds so simple, man, but that's when things really. I could just speak personally. That's when things really changed for me when I just kind of stepped out my comfort zone, and that was probably the hardest thing I ever did. And now 5 years later, I'm finally seeing the like yield of that. So, and I done bounced around a little bit. People called me crazy when I first left the H. It was just like, it is what it is. I was just at that time I was just following money. I didn't really know.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to chase the dollar. But
It does something to the mind, man. It's powerful. I wish more people would do it.
yeah, man. But I really just want to thank you, my brother. It's crazy because you might not have seen it. I made a post not a while back. I don't know when I made it. But just stuff I had planned. And who I wanted to always get on the show. And you was one of the people.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
crazy
Oh
because now,
shoot. Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, now I can kind of bring that to fruition.
Thank
It's
you,
just
brother.
I'm gonna definitely have to try keep in touch with you. And I heard you mentioned you was out in Atlanta, so I plan to come out there sometime in the summer. So hopefully I can link
Well, let's
up and
do
meet
it.
you.
Hey, drinks on me. Let's do it. Let's do it. And thank you for that. If the post's still active, tag me in that post if it's still up there.
Okay. And can you just do me one last favor though, because
Yep.
you're giving out so much game to people, man, and I just want people to be able to tap in with you. Can you just drop how people can find you, the websites you got, everything you got going on?
Yeah. Everything I do is on my main website, Andre C Hatchett. Everything I do is there. Check out Instagram, Andre Hatchett as well. And I got a podcast called the Hatchett's Way Podcast on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. The Hatchett's Way Podcast on YouTube. Any of those things you could do for me. If you want to buy something, check it out. If you want to give me a 5-star review for my podcast on Apple, that would be a huge help as well, man. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, no doubt. We're gonna put all that in the show notes, man. And like we always say on this show, man, we're good at success. If everybody around you struggling, and, we just try to bring people on that look like us, man, that can reach one and teach one, man. And I just want to thank you again, my brother, Mr. Hatchett, for coming
Appreciate
through,
it,
man,
brother.
and just dropping the drums, man.
Let's do it for the culture.
Yes, sir. We out.